There is a 21-year-old man sitting in his father's house in California right now. He is not allowed to leave. There is a monitor strapped to his ankle, and the computer in front of him records every single key he presses. He is allowed one thing on that computer you would not expect. One cryptocurrency account, a small window into the world he used to live in. Because 1 year earlier, this same young man was sitting on a private jet, Hawaiian shirt, laughing friends on every side, on top of the world. Between that jet and that anchor monitor is the largest private cryptocurrency theft in the history of the United States. $246 million, drained in a single afternoon. And the strangest part of all of it did not start with a genius hacker or a gun or a vault. It started with a video game for children. I am going to show you how a handful of young men, some of them barely out of their teens, got richer than they ever imagined. But stay with me to the end, because how they got the money is shocking. How they lost everything is the part you will not be able to stop thinking about. And by the time we get there, you will see one truth about money that almost nobody talks about.
This is Firetold.
Around late 2023, three young men met inside a game called Minecraft. If you do not know it, it is a world made of blocks where players dig for raw materials and build whatever they can imagine. It is played by millions of children. According to court records, one was an immigrant from India, one was from Singapore, one lived in California. Just three guys online in a kid's game, and somewhere in there, prosecutors say they discovered they shared a talent, not for building blocks, for something far more lucrative. Here is what they figured out, and why this story should scare you more than any movie hacker ever could. They did not need to break any code. They did not need to be geniuses. They only needed one thing. They needed people to trust them. That was the whole trick. They lied. They pretended to be someone safe, and they were very, very good at it. It worked, so they built a business out of it. According to prosecutors, they gave the crew a name, SE Enterprise, SE for social engineering. They moved from Texas to Los Angeles, where they rented an 11,000 square foot house and wired it up with computer terminals like the trading floor of a bank, except this floor traded in other people's life savings. They gave themselves names too. One called himself Versace God, another went by Swag and Wiz, another, prosecutors alleged, used the name of a famous actress as a disguise. And the scores got bigger. $600,000 from one victim, then almost $3 million from another. But they had a problem, a strange, very modern problem. They were sitting on mountains of stolen cryptocurrency. And stolen crypto is not cash. You cannot walk into a store and spend it. You cannot buy a Ferrari with it without leaving a trail. They needed someone who could turn the invisible money into real money, quietly, without fingerprints. That is where the young man from the start of this story walked in. His name is Hamza Doost. He met the crew through the world of exotic rental cars and private jets. He told them he could get them luxury travel with almost no paperwork. And once he learned what they really did, prosecutors say he joined them with the job of exchanging their stolen crypto for cash and taking a cut. It started small, $80,000, a bundle of $25,000 in cash that he is said to have hand-delivered to a nightclub where the crew was partying. He became, in the words of the case, indispensable. And here is one detail you will not forget. To move huge amounts of cash around the country without being caught, the crew once allegedly hid $50,000 inside children's stuffed animals, squishmallows, soft toys packed with stolen money. That is who these people were, and they were just getting started. In the summer of 2024, they found their whale. That is the word for someone sitting on an enormous fortune in crypto, and he was an early Bitcoin investor living in Washington, D.C. Their first move was to send him an email claiming that his Google account had been targeted by an unauthorized access attempt. Then one of the gang, posing as a member of Google's security team, warned him that unless he verified his account, it would be shut down. It worked out well for them, and once they got inside his Google account, the group found the login information for his Gemini crypto exchange account. Another member called again, posing as Gemini support staff, and while the investor was kept on the line, others sent messages about how to extract his private information, tricking him into Googling his own private key, saying it could be leaked somewhere. The third founder then convinced the wealthy investor to download a program meant to protect his crypto funds. In reality, the program handed the group remote control of his computer. They watched live as he accessed private files and logged into various systems. And when the moment came, prosecutors say they drained $246 million worth of Bitcoin from his account in a single afternoon. The next day, they celebrated. Court records describe what came next. 30 exotic cars, McLarens, a Pagani, a watch that cost $1.8 million. In Miami, they tossed $10,000 designer handbags to strangers in nightclubs. In Los Angeles, in one single night, they spent $4 million. It was more money than any of them had ever seen in their life, and not $1 of it was theirs. If this story ended here, it would just be a story about getting away with it, a highlight reel, the kind of thing that makes a young man watching think, maybe that would be worth it. It does not end here. Money like that does not buy peace. It buys paranoia. Word of the $246 million score spread through the criminal underworld. Rivals came looking. Doost himself was robbed of $400,000 during one exchange. Some of the crew started arming themselves, and then, quietly, the ground began to open. An off-duty police officer warned them that federal agents were closing in. That same day, prosecutors say the alleged ringleader walked into his backyard in Miami and dropped his phone into the bay. It was too late. One was arrested in New Jersey, found with $37 million in stolen crypto. He began to cooperate. Another was picked up at the airport, flying home from a vacation in Maldives. Then another, the moment he landed in Miami. The empire that took 2 years to build came apart in days. And here is the detail that tells you everything about what greed does to a person. Even as their friends were being arrested, even with agents at the door, prosecutors say some of them kept stealing, kept booking trips. Dubai, Thailand, they could not stop. The money was not freedom anymore. It was the thing they could not put down. Which brings us back to where we started. Hamza Doost was arrested in May of 2025 after voluntarily flying home from overseas. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy. He faces up to 11 years in prison. And today, that young man who once drew money around private jets and nightclubs is back in his father's house, taking online classes, an ankle monitor on his leg, a computer that records every key he presses, allowed 1 cryptocurrency account, just enough to see the world he traded his entire future for. Somewhere in the messages the crew sent each other before investigators recovered them, one member typed a single line about the people they targeted. He wrote, "They're just stupid, just gotta find the right one." He thought the victims were the fools. Look at where he is now. Here is what I want you to take from this. For 2 years, this young man looked rich. Jets, cars, watches worth more than houses. And it was all a costume, because money that's stolen is never actually owned. They were not spending a fortune. They were borrowing a lifestyle against their own freedom. And the bill always comes due. The fastest money is the most fragile money. The shortcut is almost never short. And there is a quieter truth underneath it, one that matters for you and me. The person who built something real, slowly with his own hands, may take years longer to look successful. But what he built, he gets to keep. Nobody can claw it back. No federal agent knocks on his door. They built loud and lost everything. The real flex was never the McLaren. It was the freedom they threw away to get it. Stay late. Build quietly. If this story moved you, there is someone in your life who needs to hear it. Send it to them. Next time on Firetold, I want to tell you about someone who did the opposite of everything you just saw. She started with $5,000 and an idea that everyone around her laughed at. No shortcuts, no lies, and what she built is still standing today. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Because the people we admire were not born, they were built.
This is Firetold.